So, for the past few years, it seems like, especially in liberal cities and liberal states, there has been a rash of people getting let go early, having sentences commuted, or even judges putting people back out on the street on their own recognizance after committing crimes, and they have gone on to have fatal consequences. And case in point is Jesse Calhoun. He was just indicted by a Multnomah County grand jury last Thursday for the murder of 3 women, and there could be charges coming for 2 more women. He is believed to be a serial killer. And Jesse Calhoun was let out of jail early by Oregon Governor Kate Brown back in 2001. She commuted the sentences of several people under COVID policy. But not only that, the district attorneys are supposed to look into the people that they're going to commute. And the same district attorney that now had him indicted for the murders was who commuted his sentence under the governor's orders. So let's take a look at what Willamette Weekly found out about Jesse Calhoun. And this information I'm pulling came from an article in 2023 before his indictment. Now, this was an article that came out in the Willamette Week last year. Clues emerge how poorly Jesse Lee Calhoun was monitored. This had come out when he was being suspected of the serial killings last June. And it says one of the women Calhoun is suspected of killing, Ashley Rial, filed a complaint of domestic violence and strangulation against him. So at the time the article was written, Calhoun was put back into state custody at the Snake River Correctional Institution in Ontario for violating the terms of his post-incarceration supervision. Now, when he was indicted last Thursday, he was still in that correctional facility. Kotek's office declined to comment on all of this because of the pending criminal investigation, but she had revoked his conditional commutation that Governor Kate Brown had issued to Calhoun and 40 other inmate firefighters in 2021, shaving up to 12 months off their sentences. Now, public records show that on 3 occasions, he may have violated the requirement of this conditional commutation, which was that he obey all laws after he was released. So it's kind of interesting that it took until 2023 to get that revoked. In May 2022, a Clackamas man had sought a stalking order against Calhoun, alleging in a court filing that Calhoun followed and threatened him. A judge dismissed it. Then in October of 2022, he was charged with and subsequently convicted of driving while suspended. Then in November 2022, that is when Ashley Riel filed a complaint of domestic violence and strangulation against Calhoun with the Portland Police Bureau. The Portland Police Bureau referred the complaint to the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office, but they never passed it on to the DA. So no investigation was done, no charges were filed, and of course, Rial was later found murdered. And of course, the Police Bureau and the Sheriff's Office are refusing to comment. Now, at this time, he has not been indicted on Ashley Rial's murder. Those are some of the charges they say could still be coming. But it sounds like they've known that he was tied to her murder for a while now. They just haven't, I guess, put enough pieces together to get the indictment yet. And a little background on this commutation program. It says that other inmate firefighters have also stumbled after release. Records show that 11 of the 41 inmates released for their work fighting wildfires in 2020 have subsequently been arrested on felony charges, and 2 others have been arrested for misdemeanors. But in none of those cases did they revoke the commutations. Now, they say although the rates of arrest are in line with typical recidivism findings in Oregon, the state's 2 GOP members of Congress last week asked Tina Kotek to examine the cases of more than 1,000 inmates who Brown released early. It also says the DA abstained from vetting Calhoun's commutation. Now, this is the same DA that just brought the charges through indictment, through the grand jury. So, Mike Schmidt. So the Multnomah County District Attorney's Office says through a spokesman that they were not given a meaningful opportunity to determine whether Calhoun's commuted sentence whether to support his commuted sentence. So the office did not take a position on releasing him or any of the 14 cases presented to it by the Oregon DOC. Now, in contrast, Washington County's district attorney's office objected to 17 of the 19 proposed commutations. So basically, the Multnomah County district attorney's office is kind of phoning it in. They're claiming they didn't have a meaningful opportunity. They didn't have enough time, and they basically just commuted all of them, whereas Washington County actually did their due diligence, and they objected to 17 of the 19. And it seems like Multnomah County should have done their due diligence because 4 of the 6 inmates with Multnomah County sentences commuted by Brown were eventually arrested on felony charges after their release. The 4 do not include Calhoun. Well, now we know he's been charged with felonies because of the murder charges, so that makes 5 out of the 6 with Multnomah County sentences commuted that were arrested on felony charges. Wow. It doesn't seem like that program works very well, or they're not monitoring these people well enough when they get released. And this is a timeline Willamette Week put together that just kind of shows you a little bit of his rap sheet. So in June of 2004, he was first convicted of a felony assault in Baker County. Then in 2018, law enforcement in East Multnomah County begins to suspect him of involvement in a series of car prowls and other property crimes. In a traffic stop, they find him with meth, several guns, and more than 500 rounds of ammunition. Then on February 13th of 2019, a SWAT team executed a search warrant of his residence in Troutdale. During the search, he attacks and injures an officer and a police dog. Yeah, this is a real great guy. And they let him out early. In 2019, November 18th, 2019, he pled guilty to 4 cases of burglary and car theft and was sentenced to 50 months in prison. The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office called him a prolific thief and career criminal, but yet 10 months were knocked off his sentence for good behavior. And then, of course, on June 23rd, 2021, Governor Brown issued a conditional commutation for 41 inmates. And, of course, Calhoun was part of that. On July 22nd, 2021, he was released from custody, and he returned to Multnomah County. His last address was listed in Portland per a traffic ticket. Then, in February 19th of 2023, the body of Kristen Smith was discovered in southeastern Portland. Over the next 3 months, 5 more bodies were discovered in the greater Portland metro area. They include Charity Perry at Ainsworth State Park on April 24th, Bridget Webster on April 30th in Polk County, and Ashley Real found May 7th in Clackamas County. On June 1st, the Oregonian finally reports on the discovery of the 6 bodies. And on June 4th, the Portland Police Bureau issues a statement in response to widespread speculation saying they have no reason to believe the 6 cases were connected. It is unclear whether the Bureau was deliberately withholding information or new information had emerged. Now in Washington, we have another situation where a judge making a decision to let somebody out on their own recognizance led to a deadly car accident. And here's the details on that one. So this was back on May 15th that he was charged. So it says Kenmore man charged in deadly crash also claimed he would skin girlfriend alive. 37-year-old Robert Rowland is accused of driving a stolen truck south in the northbound lanes of State Route 525, crashing head-on with another car driven by 83-year-old Trudy Slanger. Prosecutors charge Rowland with first-degree murder, vehicular homicide, vehicular assault, taking a motor vehicle without permission, attempting to elude a pursuing police vehicle, fourth-degree domestic violence assault, fourth-degree assault, and hit and run. The accident had happened on April 11th. Charging documents reveal Rowland had assaulted his girlfriend, stole her phone and cash, and sent messages to her friend claiming he was going to skin her alive on April 10th. Members of the Pacific Northwest Violent Offender Task Force served a warrant, but when they arrived, he escaped out of a window. Then the next day, on April 11th, he agreed to meet his girlfriend and her friend at Tulalip Casino to return her belongings. Investigators say Rowland showed up in a stolen GMC Sierra without license plates, punched his girlfriend's friend, then kidnapped his girlfriend. Members of the PNVOTF started searching for the woman across Snohomish County and tracked him and his girlfriend to Everett. They say Roland approached them but accelerated rapidly, leading law enforcement on a pursuit. Except that's a little bit too late because he caused the death of that woman. And actually, in another article I found, it says that he purposely did drive into her, according to the girlfriend. But court records show that Roland had 2 outstanding warrants for his arrest at the time of the crash for charges of unlawful possession of a firearm and first-degree assault. Prosecutors had asked for him to be held on a bail of $250,000, but a judge released him on personal recognizance. Roland failed to appear for his first court hearing in the first-degree assault case and later failed to appear at trial. When people say voting has consequences, it does. These are the sorts of things that happen when you vote for people that don't take law and order seriously. Okay? You've got a governor commuting sentences in Oregon, commutes the sentence of a would-be serial killer who had already had a long rap sheet. And then in Washington, you have a judge that let a man with 35 other counts out on his own recognizance, where he goes on to kidnap his girlfriend and purposely drives into another motorist and kills that person. When is it going to end? When are we going to wake up and start voting these people out and voting in people that actually want to care about the safety of people?